My name is Bayo Adeyinka, and I'm very happy for the opportunity to come into your homes to talk about managing your personal finance. Over the past few years, and across various places where I've worked, based on my experience, as a banker, I've developed some laws, or can I say some commandments, that are my own guiding principles on how to manage finance. So this is going to be very useful for you, whether it's about your personal finance, about your business finance, about building wealth generally. If you're looking forward to having a hand on what you do, then please come along with me. So the first guiding principle, or the first commandment I want to talk about, and which a lot of people take for granted, because when you look at our society, you go on Twitter, you go on social media, you see what is happening around. There's a misconception that needs to be corrected. And it is very fundamental to your understanding of how to manage your finance. And that is, you shall understand that God does not give money. God doesn't give money. Now, we're in a very religious society, a society that believes everything must come from God. Okay, so you see people going to religious houses, places of worship, all for them to pray so that God can give them money. But God doesn't give money. God does not give money. So a lot of people need to change their orientation. There must be a paradigm shift so that people will know that wealth or money comes through hard work or by providing value. It is not about you praying to God or you wishing, and that's why they say, if wishes were horses, that even beggars will ride. So it is very fundamental, and you need to get this right. God does not give money. What God can give is power or the ability. And when you're talking about power or ability, it means God can give you concepts, He can give you ideas, He can give you open doors and opportunities. But God does not give money. So wherever you are today, stop praying for money. Money doesn't come by fasting. Money doesn't come by praying. Okay? It comes by hard work. It comes by diligence. It comes by providing value. So let's proceed to the second thing, or what I call the second commandment for personal finance. You must remember that finances will never flow to a lazy man. Let me say that again. Finances will never flow to a lazy man. You must do something for God to bless you. Finances will never flow to a lazy man. There must be something you're doing. It's closely related to the very first commandment that I shared. There must be something you are doing. There must be a product you are offering, or a product you're selling, or a service that you are providing. Finances will never flow to a lazy man. We have a society where people don't want to do anything and they want to cash out the next day. It's never going to happen that way. So there must be a reorientation, a paradigm shift, especially among a lot of our young people. Finances will never flow to a lazy man. And there are a lot of excuses that people are giving to themselves that are not allowing them to apply themselves diligently. For example, some people are afraid of taking risk. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't take risk, your life can never experience positive growth. So I recall a few years ago when I was managing a customer that was not a Nigerian, a Lebanese. And normally, as the custom is, I usually go at the beginning of each year to sit with him to understand the direction of his business for that year so that I can plan together with my customer. And I remember sitting with him somewhere in Victoria Island, Lagos, and he told me that year his plan was to move to Kano. Now, you need to understand that was in the days when the Boko Haram bombings were going, around 2015, 2016, when we had all those bombings all across Nigeria. And Kano was the hotbed of Boko Haram at that time. So I asked him, why would you want to leave the serenity of Lagos and the peace of Lagos and the money I assume that you make in Lagos for a place where you'll be scampering for safety every now and then because of all the bombs that were going off. And they laughed and he told me, he said, in Lagos, it rains for about 9 months in a year in the southwest, and I'm in the construction business. So I can hardly have time to actually do my construction work, whereas I pay my staff for 12 months of the year. He said, but in Kano, there is a lot of opportunities because people are fleeing from the place. But if I go to the place, they have dry season for almost 9 months of the year. So I have more time to work. And yet, there is a lot of work also to do in that particular location. But in my thinking, I told him, but are you not afraid of all the bombs that are going all over the place? And then he laughed. He said, well, whether I am on the street, I am going to die. And whether I'm in the home one day, I am going to die. So I will add the cost of risk into my business, and I would rather go to that location. And then it took off. That day, I learned a very good lesson about taking calculated risk. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people are lazy. They are not able to take risk. We dimension the risk so much that we would rather not do anything. For some people, it's about being lethargic. But a lot of people don't understand that agility is key to business. You must be able to adapt and survive. This year, so many things are going to happen. We expect that subsidy is going to be removed. We expect that Naira is going to be devalued. So if you are into business or whatever you are doing, you must be able to adapt so that you can survive. For some people, it's about the inconvenience that they face. Many people are comfortable with their comfort zones. They don't want to move from one place to the other. There are some people, they have only one outlet, one shop, and they are okay with that. But do you know that if you push yourself, you can actually have 2 outlets? If you push yourself, you can diversify your streams of income. So if you want to rise, you must be ready to leave your comfort zones. For some people, it is the inability to listen to sound counsel. Those are the things that are holding some people down and making them to be lazy so that they are not able to push themselves and improve on their personal finance. So just to recap what I have shared in this particular commandment, you must remember that finances will never flow to a lazy man. So let's go to the third commandment. And don't forget that I'm speaking about the 10 commandments of finance. So the third commandment is you must honor your relationships because you will never go farther than them. Honor your relationships because you will never go farther than them. There are a lot of people who are praying for money, but what you should actually be praying for are quality relationships. People need to understand how to treat people well. Your next 1 million naira, your next break might just be in your relationship with the person that is sitting across to you. So you must learn how to treat people well. We pray for God to bless us, but God sends relationships as the answer to our prayers. So how do you treat people? How do you reach out to people? How do you nurture relationships? You must honor your relationships because you will never go farther than the relationships in your life. So I urge you, wherever you are, sit down and look at the relationships that you have right now. Are they relationships that you can build and improve on? Are they relationships that can open your eyes to what is possible? Now, I'm not talking about you having relationships where all you need to do is to go about to people and ask them for money. No. For that is not a relationship anybody will want to cultivate. People will run away from you if all you do is every time you see them, you ask for money. But I'm talking about relationships that can open your eyes, relationships that can blow your mind, relationships that can help you to see what is possible. I have one of such relationships in my life, and I'll give you an example. I remember some years ago, I wanted to travel to South Africa. And I have this mentor of mine who had invited me and said I could stay in his house anytime I wanted to visit South Africa. So I took up the offer. And I remember getting to South Africa, his housekeeper came, took me to his home, and I settled in. A few days after, my mentor called me and he said, Bayo, I want you to go to a certain place. You're going to take a train. It's going to be about 45 minutes. When you get there, you call me. But I want you to go alone. So I went alone. I took the GO train. And then after a few calls, I got to the front of a massive estate. Then he told me that somebody is going to come, ask for my name, and then give me right of entry into the estate. And a short while after, a guy came, drove, asked, are you Mr. Bayo? I said yes. And then he gave me access into the estate. And the man called me again, my mentor called me and he said, in this particular estate, I have about 25 chalets. And I opened my eyes wide. He's a Nigerian. But in South Africa, he had about 25 chalets in that particular estate. So one of the chalets was open for me. I went around, he showed me, and then he asked me to go to another location where I saw another set of buildings owned by him, and then he asked me to go back to his home. That night, over the course of 2 hours, my mentor taught me about real estate. He taught me a lot of things I would never read from any text or any book. And the lessons I learned that particular night, right there in Sandton, South Africa, they are lessons that I still use right now as I speak. So you need to honor your relationships because you will never go farther than the relationships in your life. So take a picture of the major relationships that are in your life. Which areas do you need to improve? Do you need to engage them a little bit more? Do you need to nurture them a little bit more? Or are there relationships in your life that are not adding value to you that you need to cut off? You need to remember every time, honor your relationships because you will never go farther than them. So let me go to the fourth commandment. And the fourth commandment is also closely related to the third one that I just shared. Thou shalt have a mentor. You need a mentor. You need a mentor for whatever you're doing. Just like if you're a banker like I am, you need a professional mentor, or whatever career you're involved in, you need a mentor. For your personal finance also, you need a mentor. Why? Your success is buried in the wisdom of another man. Let me say that again. Your success is buried in the wisdom of another man. There is someone who has done what you're doing right now. Maybe not in the exact format, but there is someone who has done it before. So read up about them. Reach out to them. They can guide you. So when we're talking about mentorship, they don't need to be physical mentors. There are people that you read their books and they can mentor you through their books. There are people that you learn from them. Maybe you watch their videos, and through a lot of the things that they say or that they teach, they can mentor you. So your success is buried in the wisdom of another man. Don't make the mistakes others have made before. Be free to make your own mistakes. Be free to make your own mistakes. That is what mentorship does for you. Mentorship teaches you all those landmines that you need to avoid. That is the power of mentorship. That is the power of mentorship. Mentorship is very powerful. And I see a lot of young people, they are not taking advantage of those mentorships, and that's why we have a high rate of failure nowadays. People are failing in businesses, they are failing in their marriages, they are failing in their personal lives because we are not taking advantage of mentorship. Mentorship is great. And what you need to do is to identify someone who is doing what you are doing, or someone you can learn from and begin to learn from them. Now, it doesn't mean that a mentor is a perfect person. There are no perfect people anywhere. All right? So there may be some things that your mentor is doing or is engaged in that you don't necessarily like. What you need to do is to cut those things off and focus on the areas that you want so that you can take maximum advantage of that mentorship relationship. You will see farther if you stand on the shoulder of others. That is what mentorship does for you. So I'll go on to the 5th commandment. And I've mentioned the 5th commandment in passing also. You need to have a product, a service, or something like knowledge that you're offering. Now, there are 3 things we can sell, or the 3 things that we're involved in. It's either you're selling a product, you're selling a service, or you're selling knowledge. But the mistake a lot of people do, especially when they're setting up their business, is they don't identify a need before they set up a business. People get into businesses because somebody else is doing it. Oh, okay, pure water. Everybody's doing pure water business. I want to do it so that I can generate money. Oh, everybody's getting into cryptocurrency. I want to do it so that I can generate money. But people don't understand that you need to identify a need before you set up a business. When you identify a need, it will help you to know whether what you want to sell is a product, or you want to offer a service, or you're just offering knowledge generally. Don't set up a business and then you start looking for needs. That would be a great mistake that you'll be making. And that is what a lot of people do. They set up a business and they wonder, why are people not coming? Why is my money tied down in this business? Because they have made the mistake of setting up a business before looking for the need. Don't put the cart before the horse. The need comes first before the business, not the business before the need. And then your business can be categorized into either a product, a service, or a knowledge that you are offering. I hope that is clear. So I'll go ahead to the 6th commandment, and this is very important. You need to understand it. It is very critical. You need to know that money is a reward for getting something done. Money is a reward for getting something done. Money is a reward that you get for getting something done. Now, if you work in an organization where you get paid your salary, at the end of the month, you are paid your salary because you got a certain level of job done. So that is why they call this salary. If you're a contractor and you do a contract, you are paid after that contract has been done, after some level of job has been done. If you are teaching, after providing that service of teaching, after imparting that knowledge, people pay you because they believe that knowledge has been imparted. So money is a reward for getting something done. The reason why a lot of people are not getting money is you are not getting anything done. There is really no value that you are adding. People cannot see the value. If people can see the value, then value will flow back to you in terms of money. So money is a reward for getting something done. There's something I usually tell people. I tell people, if you play well, people will pay you well. So if people are not paying you well, maybe you are not playing very well. So what you need to do is, when you do business, add value. When you work for others, add value. Even if you are in paid employment, you need to add value. And the more value you add, the more your own personal value appreciates. So when I see people who come in and they ask for a salary raise, I begin to ask myself, has your value increased? If your value increases, then you can be sure that the reward that will accrue to you will also increase. You won't command the best if you are not the best. So wherever you are, whatever you do, ensure your own personal value increases. The value you are adding to the organization, the value you are adding to the company, the value you are adding to the society, once it increases, your own value that comes to you in terms of reward will also increase. So you need to understand that money is a reward for getting something done. So where you are you solving problems? Are you getting something done? When you solve problems, money will come to you. The reason why a lot of people are struggling with their personal finance is because they are not solving problems. And we live in a society where there are a lot of problems. I tell people that Nigeria is a place where you can make a lot of money. Why? Because there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of problems. So the problems, if you begin to see problems as the opportunity to solve them or to provide solutions, then you will see that there will be more inroads for you to be able to make money. So money is a reward for getting something done. So when you solve a problem, you're going to be rewarded on 3 levels. And please listen to me very carefully. When you solve any problem, you're going to be rewarded on 3 levels. Number 1, you're going to get affluence. So there's affluence, there's influence, and there is exemption. So you are rewarded on 3 levels when you solve a problem. You get affluence, you get influence, and you get exemption. Affluence in the terms of more money that comes to your pocket. Influence because your scope is increased. You are able to reach more people. The level of your influence increases. And exemption because people extend goodwill to you. So those are on 3 levels that you are rewarded anytime you solve a problem. So what do you need to do? I encourage you to focus on your skills wherever you are. Improve on your skills. When you improve on your skills, you improve on your ability to make more money. And when you're talking about your skills, I have a mathematical formula for skills. Skills equals to talent plus practice plus structured learning. Let me say that again. Skills equals to talent plus practice plus structured learning. So you want to be more skilled, focus on your talent and add more practice to your talent, and then ensure that it is in a structured learning. So you continue to practice for a certain number of hours in a day and you make it consistent. When you begin to do that, you improve on your skills. The more you improve on your skills, the more you improve on the ability for you to make money. So let me go to the 7th commandment. The 7th commandment is you need to understand the seed principle. You need to understand the seed principle. Seed, S-E-E-D, the seed principle. And that is everything big started small. Everything big started small. Now, we are now in a generation where everybody wants to blow overnight. Everybody wants to make it big overnight. Nobody wants to go through the process. But you need to understand the seed principle. What is the seed principle? The seed is very small, very tiny. But inside that seed, as small as it is the capacity to grow so big. But the seed will never grow big overnight. The seed, first of all, goes through a process where you put it under the ground. And then it is nurtured, it is watered, and after some time, it begins to shoot out a little bit. And after some time, it begins to grow its roots downwards. And then after some time, the leaves begin to grow upwards and outwards. And then it emerges into a whole tree. And some of the trees can survive for 100 years. But no seed grows overnight. Everything big starts small. That conglomerate that you see today actually started in a kiosk maybe about 45 years ago. For the past few weeks, I've been studying Charis. I'm talking about Mr. Cosmas Maduka. And I've listened to his story, I've watched his videos, I've listened to him talk, maybe almost about 20 or 30 different sessions that I've listened to because I'm fascinated by what he has done. And his story is all out there, how he started very small. And today, 40 years after, he's sitting on a multi-billion-dollar business. So let me go to the 8th commandment of personal finance. And the 8th commandment is you need to embrace learning and training. You need to embrace learning and training. And we are now in the kind of, can I say, world where your learning and your training can be at your fingertips. The phone that you carry is a learning resource. Your laptop is a learning resource. All you need to do is to search for whatever you want to know about, and bingo, all that information comes out at you. But people are not reading. People are not learning. But you cannot improve on your personal finance if you don't learn, if you are not trained. You need to educate your ignorance. You need to get financially literate. You need to learn, you need to relearn, and you need to unlearn. And there are a lot of resources that can help you with learning about personal finance. There are books out there. There are books I always recommend to people. I tell people, you want to learn about personal finance, you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Fantastic resource. It will help you to understand about finance. You want to understand about personal finances, you need to read this book by George Clason, The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is a classic, an all-time classic. Go and get it. It will change your perception about how you handle your personal finance. It's a book I always read every year. I read it at least once every year. You want to know a little bit more about handling your finances? Go and read Acres of Diamond. Go and read The Millionaire Next Door. There is this book that is even written by Nigeria, amazing book, targeted at women, Smart Women Money. Fantastic. It has been developed into a movie. Fantastic and amazing movie also. So you need to embrace learning, you need to embrace training. Don't wait until you are trained. Go for some personal finance courses. They are free on Udemy, they are free on so many other platforms. And it doesn't matter even if they are not free. Pay for some of those courses, pay for some of those webinars and attend. It helps you. You need to embrace learning and training. You need to educate your ignorance. So let me go to the 9th commandment of finance now. You need to have multiple streams of income. Now, it has become a cliche. Everybody says it all over the place. Multiple streams of income, without really understanding exactly what multiple streams of income is talking about. Now, I know that my audience is mixed. Some of you are students, some of you are entrepreneurs, some of you are professionals, but you need to develop multiple streams of income. What will happen to you if your current income stream is blocked? What will happen to you? Just like it happened during COVID, when a lot of people were shut indoors and could not go to their place of work, they could not do their business, and then their current stream of income was blocked. And there were a lot of families that were in turmoil. Salaries were not being paid, or people were no longer coming for their business, and all of that. So that brings to fore the importance of having multiple streams of income. And having multiple streams of income is not as difficult as a lot of people make it to look. It's not as difficult. And I tell people, having multiple streams of income is not about you being a jack of all trades. It's not about you being an agripreneur and then you jumping into crypto and then you jump into that and you jump into this. No. It can be done in a way that it is very systematic. Very systematic. And I'll give you some real life examples. Now, I tell people that I see who are involved in the entertainment industry, especially people who are music artists, that beyond just singing, there are so many other things you can do. So beyond just singing, and then they invite you to come and sing at a place, and then you mime, and then they give you some honorarium, and then you go. There is a lot that you can do within that space. Can you have a studio? I have a lot of young people who follow me, some of them who have studios of their own, where other people can come to record, and then they can earn money from those studio sessions. Can you own equipment, sound equipment, photography equipment, video equipment that people can come and rent anytime they want to shoot these music videos and they pay you? Can you actually learn how to be a sound engineer and you can help people to do sound check? Okay? Can you actually help people to write songs? Rather than just being a backup artist, you can actually also write songs. You can develop lyrics for songs. I understand Tiwa Savage started that way, writing songs for other artists. Okay, there are a lot of things that you can do. And that is why you see even people who own studios now, they do podcasts. Some of them now record their podcasts. And people now become YouTubers. and people are following them and they are monetizing their content. So having multiple streams of income is not talking about you just being a jack of all trades and doing so many things. From that one thing that you do, you can begin to pivot systematically within that ecosystem, within that framework. So even if you're in paid employment, there are quite a few things that you can do that will help you to generate multiple streams of income. Okay? Are there some certain skills or talents that you have that you can apply at your own spare time? Can you do public speaking? Okay, are there other things you can do that can help you to generate ancillary income? Can you write? Okay, can you monetize your social media pages? Those are different things that can help you to have multiple streams of income. So let's go to the final one. And the final one is maybe, if you want to say, the greatest commandment of all. Because herein lies all the other principles and commandments that we have been talking about. And it is about you cultivating a savings habit. You must cultivate a savings habit. No matter how much you earn, or whether you are a student who is given pocket money by your parents, you need to develop and cultivate a savings habit. You cannot afford, using the language of my people, you cannot afford to use all the 10 fingers to eat. You must put aside a certain amount on a consistent basis. You must put aside an amount on a periodic basis so that it forms a pool for you. And from that pool, you can decide whether you want to invest or whether you want to continue to increase that savings. But you must cultivate a savings habit. It is something that everybody needs to cultivate. You don't have to live from paycheck to paycheck. Some people, by the time it is 1 month after their paid salaries, everything is gone. They pay everybody, but they don't pay themselves. Having savings somewhere is a form of you paying yourself, putting away money, either for investments or for the rainy day. So I want to encourage you, you must have a savings habit, you must cultivate it. And a lot of people ask me, how much must I put aside? I tell them the minimum you should put aside is 10%. If you can do 20%, the better, or if you can do more. But you must put aside between 10% to 20% of your income on a consistent basis. So if you earn 50,000 naira, for instance, you should put a minimum of 5,000 naira aside every month. Okay? If you earn 100,000 naira, you must put aside a minimum of 10,000 naira. So I encourage people, I advise people, you need to save between 10 to 20% of your income. The more you cultivate a savings habit, and putting it aside is about you having that habit. The moment it becomes part of you, it becomes easier. But I tell people, if you cannot save 500 naira, you can't save 1,000 naira. If you cannot save, some people will say, I will wait until I'm making a lot of money before I begin to save. No, you're getting it wrong. If you don't have that habit of saving consistently, 500 naira or 5 million naira would be, it will be so big when you're earning a lot of income that you will not be able to put that small money aside because you have not cultivated that habit. So you must cultivate that savings habit regularly, because therein lies all those other principles or commandments that we have discussed. So let me just recap from the beginning all the things we have discussed from the get-go. Commandment number 1 is you should understand that God does not give money. Number 2 is that finances will never flow to a lazy man. Number 3 is you need to honor relationships because you will not go further than your relationships. Number 4, you must have a mentor. Number 5, you need to offer either a product or service or a knowledge. There must be something that you're doing. Number 6, you should know that money is a reward for getting something done. And then commandment number 7, you need to understand the seed principle. Number 8, you need to embrace learning and training. Number 9, you need to have multiple streams of income. And finally, number 10, you need to cultivate a savings habit. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come into your home with this. I hope you do something good with the information you have learned today. God bless you. Bye.